8 years. Can't believe it's been 8 years since I got my 2016 Ecoboost Mustang. This is going to be a follow-up video to the videos I made all the way back in the day. The good things and the bad things about the car. This will be basically fast-forwarding to here we are in 2024. And I actually just parted ways with the car, and we'll talk about why and what I have now instead. So this is going to be 8 years of ownership from brand new, 400 miles on the odometer when I took delivery of it, because the dealer drove it up to me, but anyway, all the way up to basically near as makes no difference, 90,000 miles of ownership, and how the car did for all those years. Let's go. So my car, I bought brand new in 2016 from Coons Ford down in the Baltimore-ish sort of area. And it was a premium car, so it did have the upgraded interior with the heated and cooled seats, better infotainment systems, just a bit nicer of a place to be. I got it for around $25,000. I remember the week I had my eye on it, they lowered it like 500 bucks the day I was gonna drive down and see it. So I got a solid deal on the car. It was an EcoBoost car, so that's a turbo 4-cylinder, and put out 310 horsepower with 320 foot-pounds of torque. My car was, yes, also the manual. It was a 6-speed. Dear God, if you're buying a car like this, do not buy the automatic. You're really missing out on the whole point of owning a car like this. And to be honest, until the S550 came out, I was never a Mustang guy. Yes, the Steve McQueen car from Bullitt is badass, but all the other ones along the way, I just was never into. The 5.0 Fox bodies can be cool, fair enough, but I was always more of a Camaro guy than a Mustang guy. But the retro refresh Camaro, I've always hated and thought it was really ugly. I didn't like the Mustangs either until the OG S550 came along, the non-facelift, and just fell in love with it. I think the styling is spot on. It's just a gorgeous car. I love the interior and the sort of callbacks, which I'm going to talk about in other videos about why I think the OG S550 is the GOAT of Mustangs of all time. So that was what made me want to go out and buy the Mustang when it came out. I also found the Turbo 4 really fascinating. I was able to get 36 to 37 miles per gallon on the highway if I kind of behaved myself and just drove it like 65 miles an hour. So you're getting decent horsepower, a torquey engine, which is a lot of fun, and good gas mileage. So at the time when I bought it in 2016, I was a musician traveling a ton. So basically the ability to be able to get around and save on gas was awesome. So in my 8 years, nearly 90,000 miles of ownership, what broke on the car? What went wrong? Only one single repair in all of those years, which is pretty crazy. The mass airflow sensor triggered the check engine light. I think it was around 2022. I took it to the Ford dealer down in Chester. Dear God, do not go there. They are a bunch of snakes. We don't have to get into the details of what exactly went wrong, but basically it turned into this big fiasco. Got the car repaired the first time around from them, and about 6 months later, check engine light pops back on, go back to the same dealer, and turns out it's the mass airflow sensor, and also turns out they have no record of my car being at the dealer, where they promptly charged me a full repair cost of another $500, which made me start to investigate, called around to other dealerships, and they quoted me more like $250 for the repair. So needless to say, very bad experience with Fred Beans of Chester. Do not go there, but all in all, that's the only thing that ever went wrong on the car that needed to have a repair other than your general wear and tear. It's a repair that really should have only been done the one time, but I'm not strictly confident that they put a good part in on the first time through. So anyway, I'll stop complaining about Fred Beans of Chester. I think the only issues from Ford that I never liked about the car, there's really kind of two of them. The first one is that the taillights, when you unlock the trunk, They both flash at the exact same time, and it is blindingly bright. So I got very used to anytime I was getting anything in and out of the trunk, just closing my eyes. It's crazy, crazy bright. I remember mentioning this in my 5 negative things video, and people being like, "Woo, you know, you want the lights to not flash, so if you broke down..." No, I just want Ford to change the programming, right? Do like this sequential thing or something when you open up the trunk instead of both at the same time. So yeah, they're blindingly bright at night when you go to take something in and out of the trunk. And then really the biggest problem actually is the way that they designed the B-pillar. It just cuts into the wind, and the buffeting or buffering or whatever you want to call it, the wind noise with the windows down on any speed over 35 mile an hour is like intolerable. So my whole time I had my car, I was pretty much always in just like a hermetically sealed bubble. Windows were always up, heater AC on, because anything over than 35 mile an hour, it's like you're just getting blown all around, and the buffeting or whatever it's called, yeah, the wind noise is just crazy. By the end, I had 2 other small problems. So I got a tear in the driver's seat. It just happened over time. It really got much worse in the winter of 2024 for whatever reason. All of a sudden the tear got really big this past winter, which, you know, obviously it's more of a wear and tear issue. Then the only other problem I had was my heated and cooled seats on my driver's side, starting around 2018, 2019, would occasionally make this like grinding noise. And I took it into the dealer, they actually pulled out the whole seat, they replaced the whole thing, and within 6 months it was doing it again. It was very strange because if I didn't use the heated or cooled seat for a while, it wouldn't do the grinding noise, and then eventually it would start up, and then I'd turn off, and then it was fine. So it never affected the operation, but it was kind of weird having this sort of grinding noise in your back. For the first 7 years of my ownership, I actually ran it on regular gas as well, and early on I did like a, you know, kind of very unscientific test, running it on regular for a bit, running it on premium for a bit, and I could not feel the difference at the time when the car was new. Around maybe about 2.5, 3 years ago is when I started noticing a lot of like just kind of dead spots throughout the power band, and then started running it on premium, and that definitely made a big difference. A motor with almost 90,000 miles on it is obviously not going to be as potent as something with 20,000 miles on it or 10,000 miles on it. But yeah, if you're planning on getting one of these cars, yes, you can run it on regular, but like, you shouldn't. Just spend the couple extra bucks and get the good gas. You will be getting more power out of it, and you will potentially be avoiding issues with the engine and the potential Ecoboom, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. But I think at least if we're going to talk about the car from the perspective of what Ford actually made as opposed to what their dealer did, it was a fantastic car. With the exception of that one repair, it was always rock solid, and the only things I ever replaced on it was a battery, another set of tires, and then I did do a full brake job on the car when my twins were born. Yes, we're gonna get into twins in a Mustang. Yes, I made this work, and it was actually really good at twins, but anyway, we'll get into that. So the only things I had to replace on the car was stuff that you expect: tires, brakes, and one just small repair that really should have cost around 300 bucks to get fixed. So outstanding in all of those years. So let's talk about the elephant in the room though, the Ecoboost engine, because I know it gets a lot of hate online, and I think anyone that's hating on the engine is an idiot. I could understand 2015, 2016, you buy an Ecoboost, your local speed shop doesn't really know their way around the motor because it's new, you boost it, you do some mods, and then the engine blows up and being pissed. Totally get it. But in 2024, it is well known that the Ecoboost engine's cylinder walls are not thick enough to handle more power. They just aren't. So if you buy an Ecoboost and you don't mod it and you just drive it as is from the factory, I am very confident you'll be fine. I definitely was, and I don't necessarily think I was an outlier here. If you stay on top of the oil changes and if you don't mod it for more power, I think you'll be fine. You just have to know what this platform is. It's not a platform for modding and getting more power. It is buy it as it is. It's a daily driver commuter car that happens to get outstanding gas mileage and is still pretty quick and not bad, and that is it. Nothing more. You don't want to try to get more power out of them because then, yeah, they will go Ecoboom. So just know that's what this platform is. It's just stock. Leave it alone, enjoy it. And if you want more power, yeah, you need to get the V8. The clutch held up great through all of those miles. I do a ton of city driving. I drove the car either to gigs, when we were playing down the shore with my band, driving to rehearsal, driving to work, getting stuck on endless stop and go driving through 95, and the clutch did great. When I just traded my car in, there was still plenty of life left on the clutch. Like, I'm fully confident you could get another like 40,000 miles out of that clutch before you would need a new clutch. So the clutch really weared great. Obviously, if you're buying a used car, your results will vary depending on who owned your car before you. If they were like me, and I drove my car, I enjoyed it, but I also did not pull a Wyatt and also drive it like I stole it. My buddy Wyatt's notorious for breaking cars left and right, ripping off shifter handles off of old Saabs, you savage. I enjoyed my car, but I didn't beat it. So if you're getting a car that seems clean, there's a good chance that that clutch should last you. I know the MT82 transmission gets a bad rap, and I get it, but in my experience, the clutch really did hold up through all of those years. The trunk on these cars are surprisingly large as well. I was reading a recent article that actually put the trunk space larger than like that of a Honda Accord or a Range Rover Evoque. So the trunk is bigger than you think. The hole to get stuff in is oddly shaped, and that can be limiting, but if it can get into the trunk hole, you've got a ton of space, especially with the rear seats that fold down in the coupe. I used to take my whole guitar rig, all my guitars and all sorts of equipment to gigs and stuff, and managed to get it all fit in the Mustang, a big 2x12 cabinet and everything. You'd be surprised how much trunk space there is in this car. And let's talk about car seats. So in 2023, my wife gave birth to our beautiful twins. Now, when we were planning on having babies, the plan was always to have one. So that was never going to be an issue. Just move your passenger seat up. You can easily fit a rear-facing car seat, and then nobody rides in the passenger side, right? So we'll be fine, except then 2 came along. Now, in full disclosure, if you're anything taller than 5'8", it will not work. This is like the one time in my life where I was short and glad. And it actually worked. I was able to fit both car seats, rear-facing car seats, in the car. It's a little tricky to get them in and out. It's really not that bad. You just kind of lean up against it and give it a good pull and twist. And you do have to put the seat all the way up. Yes, they are electric, so you're kind of sitting there for 15 seconds while it slowly moves up. At first, it was very tight. So the way the car seats work is that there's like 2 different angles you have to put them at for the kids to be safe. The 3-month angle, it was really, really tight. Arguably too close. Fortunately, my wife had off from work, so there was really only about maybe 3 weeks of driving I had to actually do with the kids in the car at this more uncomfortable angle where I was definitely too close to the wheel. Kids would have been fine, I would have been f***ed. But fortunately, they were only ever in my car 2 days a week, and it was for just a drive of 17 miles, so it's not like I was going terribly far. Once I was able to readjust, and once they got to the 3-month age and you can change the angle, now I can ride with my seat basically in its normal seating position. I'm like a little bit more vertical than I normally would be, but it's basically back to the normal distance from the wheel and totally safe. So all this past summer, we took my twins, my wife, because my wife is short, she's like 5'2", so she fits in the passenger side fine, all of our paraphernalia for the twins down the shore 3 different times, all fitting in a coupe 2-door Mustang. So it does actually work, which was astonishing to me. My Mustang was every bit as good as my wife's 2018 Hyundai Elantra. So, in terms of cargo space, and yes, those rear seats are laughable for adults, but for kids, they work totally fine. And yes, you can even get rear seating car seats to work. How was my car for all these 8 years? It was fantastic. Getting incredible gas mileage. Around town and city, I was usually averaging around 30. I mean, that's just great for a car with 310 horsepower, able to fit twins in it somehow. Through all these years, the car has been great. Should you consider buying an Ecoboost though? No, you should not. Gas-powered cars are basically done. The Camaro, the Challenger, the Charger are all gone, and I don't expect them to come back. They're going to be just reborn in electric versions. S650, the newest Mustang, is basically just a refresh of the refresh. And I'm not strictly confident that Ford is going to put the amount of time and resources that they put into developing the S550 that came out in 2015 into the future. I have a strong suspicion that they might do one more refresh of the S650 and call it the S750, and then honestly, I'm kind of expecting them to be gone. So with the prices of what you can find on the used market, like just get the V8. I just did. Trust me, it's so much better. But do I regret my purchase? Now that I have a GT, absolutely not. My car was outstanding. It really served its purpose at the time. It helped with gas. I saved a ton of money on gas through the years when I was driving a ton. Turned out it was a damn good family car as well, and the reliability was solid. No Ecoboom or anything. So yeah, I loved my car. All these years later, I'm a little bit older, a little bit more wrinkly, a little bit more gray hair. Loved my car, had a great experience with it, and that was what ended up happening. I ended up having twins, ended up managing to find a way to make that work, then discovered that actually it worked really well, and that's why I turned around and bought a GT convertible performance pack. Just got this car, and oddly enough, it has solved all the problems. It's easier to get babies in and out of a convertible than it is my wife's Elantra, which is hilarious. With the convertible rear windows down, the buffering and buffeting, or whatever you want to call it, wind noise is totally gone, so I can actually drive with the windows down, and nothing beats that V8. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. I'm still in a 2016. It's just now got a big old V8 in it, and happens to be able to put the top down. So thanks for watching this video. This is not what I do. I'm a shreddy guitar player, as you can tell from all the clips in between the different sections. Hopefully you like the playing, and maybe consider giving the channel a sub or a like, all that kind of good stuff. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Let me know down below if you're looking to buy one, or if you have one, how your experiences have gone. I hope they were as good as mine. So I'll see you in the next one. Woo!